going for a walk and we're gonna talk. Oh yeah. Barney the Wonder Dog is there with Sean on the Mind Walk podcast.
Good enough. I've never been in this park before.
Yeah, I haven't been here myself either.
Yeah. It was suggested to me by somebody else this week, and they couldn't make it, so I was like, yeah, let's fucking scout it out. You want to try this way?
Yeah, let's go upstream.
Yeah. The streets are rife with people on $3,000 bicycles. I just like, I was definitely being bullied. Like, I was taking my time getting here, and the people in the cars, the fancy cars behind me, were like right on my butt. And I think that there's a relationship between, the level of anxiety that a person has and their need to acquire wealth and goods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing that you can control in your life,
Yeah.
The acquisition of goods is like if you have no control over other aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Or feel that you have no control over other aspects of your life.
Just buy more shit.
Yep.
But this is, this is the land of Jack Parsons.
Partially, but it's also, the land of obscene wealth.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. But this is one of the things that makes him, to me, such a striking figure.
Yeah.
Is because, he was a kook occultist. He was a self-taught scientist. And he hobnobbed with the fucking, he was really trying to work his way into this world.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, the TV show was pretty good.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah. I'm just a big fan of his because of that, the kind of salacious book that was written, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago now.
Sex and Rockets?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I think it's, these are characters, and even, whatever, he's a 20th century dude, and these are characters that we don't, we want to brush under the carpet, but he made some powerful fucking discoveries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. I would say, you don't strike me as very occulty, but you definitely feel like you could have a lot of the the Jack Parsons take on life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll grant you that.
Yeah.
I'm just I don't like talking about my occulty stuff.
Fair enough.
It's I think one of my core beliefs is it's along the lines of Aleister Crowley's always tell the truth but lead such an improbable life that no one believes you.
Yeah.
But with occulty kind of stuff, you don't talk about Fight Club, It's like you trying to prove that to someone else outside of your own subjective experience of it is not gonna do you any favors.
So one of the other whatever regulars on this podcast. Let's go close to the channel here.
Yeah, Barney,
come here, bud. My buddy Ryan McGranahan. He goes to the Gnostic church, and he says, "Oh yeah, we go and we do magic," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll take it on face value what he says."
Yeah.
But one of the things that we talk about, and I think this is a thing that's missed a lot in talking about occultism, is that you're just creating an altered state for yourself by focusing your mental, spiritual, emotional energies in these particular directions. And whatever the ritual enacts inside of you that allows you to then conquer the world, get laid, whatever this is, whatever these things are, that state is real enough inside of you, and the product of it is, there's evidence of that. I think that one of the reasons why occultism and magic and all that is kind of like, I'll just say poo-pooed in the popular culture, is because these giant corporations like Disney is a magic factory.
Yeah.
They are fucking real magicians there, doing real sorcery in the both lightest and darkest ways, And they do sigil magic and fucking all this stuff. They do it all.
Yeah.
So I think that the idea that put into our, the kind of the top end of our culture, that it's like some kind of silliness, is done on purpose so that the people that are actually doing the, kind of like using corporate magic, let's say, keep us in a place from being able to fight them with our own kind of occult energies.
Well, when I say I don't talk about it, it's not for, saying, oh, it's, just something silly. I say I don't talk about it because, like, I feel like when you talk about it, you defeat it.
Yeah, sure, on some levels. On some levels. So this way? This is, by the way, this is amazing.
This is the old suicide bridge.
People would jump off of this thing?
Oh, yeah, it's well known for it.
Yeah!
I
it's
had
got the double rail, huh?
Yeah. 2 people in my not immediate network, but friends of friends, killed themselves in the last week. Monday, and then I think yesterday or the day before.
Holy shit. I mean, from despair because of the current weirdness of the world.
I mean, I didn't read the notes,
Yeah.
One of them, we're not sure what the circumstances were. We just know that they died. There's some speculation that it was OD. I don't know if there's any speculation about the intentionality of it. But,
well, it's we're in some tough ass times.
Yep. That's for sure.
Man, this is awesome. I love this fucking bridge.
Yeah.
Back when they really made shit.
You can see every board that they nailed together when they were pouring the structure.
Look at that.
It's just, all the wood framework that would have been underneath the cement. Built in a time before plywood.
And they just they had the money and time and the expertise to be able to do it.
And the forests.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. All that old growth cut down for...
I mean, they basically converted the redwood forests into a lot of the houses in Pasadena and the older parts of LA. They're all redwood. I mean, shit, I live in a redwood house.
Wow.
Probably a species of tree that's extinct.
Yeah. What is this, the 6th great extinction?
Yeah. One of the things I just saw, I guess I knew this, but it phrased a certain way. There was a study that came out about in the wake of mass extinctions, whether or not that becomes a a dispersal event. So meaning after the dinosaurs died, all the mammals that were left.
Here, bud. Good boy. Hello.
So after the dinosaurs died, there was only a few mammals around, but they survived and they diversified into all the mammals that we know today.
Yeah.
And so people looked at the fossil record and when species existed, when they popped up, and all this. And they found that that's actually not really the case. That there's not necessarily a correlation between extinction events and dispersal events. And the other one that they found, and I knew this, but sometimes dispersal events can cause extinctions. So
it chokes out the whatever, the local flora and fauna economy?
So basically, like when North and South America became connected, a bunch of like North American predators went down to South America and killed off a lot of the stuff that wasn't used to fighting against mountain lions and shit.
Well, you know, I just think of this goddamn apex predator, you and I, you know.
Yeah.
We finally make our way across the fucking, the Atlantic, but, you know, for a while we were living peacefully. And then the other ones came.
Yeah.
Oh, the white one? Yeah, or is his product?
Yeah, but so if, let's say, I think that the trend, let's say the global trend on Earth is eventually just going to be all Han people, all Chinese people. Just eventually, there won't even be any animals. It'll just be the Han Chinese. And, you know, I feel like it feels like an inevitability. It just happens to be, we live in this little pocket of, I'll just say white supremacy for lack of a better term. But you know, it's hard to get, if you just look at the trends of how, you know, kind of species evolve and expand, they're not going anywhere. You know, it's like we're whatever we're trying to do, whatever we're trying to save, however we're trying to change the world, you know, is Western influence, like, you know, the idea of kind of like, I don't know, the Western humanities. Is that going to make the Chinese empire any softer, any better, any, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, my ultimate hope is that this, or like the ultimate thing that like I'd bank on is this. At a certain point, empires become inefficient and unable to respond. You're basically monoculturing your whole field. You know, like your whole ecosystem is just corn, just potatoes. And then potato blight, whatever that ends up being, you know, metaphorically speaking, can come in and wipe the whole thing out.
Yeah, that's true.
So the only thing that like I could really hope for is, you know, like a re-diversification of cultures.
Yeah.
That like it's not predicated on like racial idea or something like that. It's predicated on like the idea of like just localism in general.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And like you end up, when you have like such a massive diversity of cultures, you end up with like, yeah, sure, there's like philosophical points that other cultures would bring up that I would adamantly disagree with and think are like horrible brands of, you know, sins against humanity. But ultimately, like, all of that shit is necessary, but on very small scales. Because when, you know, some larger scale disaster starts to happen, you have things that are better able to cope with it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting as you were saying that. I was like, oh, you know, we could have these like individual, like localized kind of communities kind of endeavoring towards their own whatever goals. But then maybe there's like some kind of, I'll just say technological for lack of a better term, but it's almost like a mycelia that connects it all.
But that's the problem. When you have that mycelia that connects it all, that's where it turns it all into a monoculture.
Oh, I see.
So the only way that would happen, where you would have that increased local diversity, is to do away with things like the internet. Do away with things like mass culture, communication, any of it.
Wow.
Because that's how it was for like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah, most of human development.
And that gets killed off by movies, by newspaper articles, images in magazines, whatever it is.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, these are unifying, kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Homogenizing efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, in a weird way, that's why our culture is so like. Good morning. So our culture is flailing so hard right now, North America, whatever, in the United States, is because I'll say the corporate interests for sure, but whatever, the elites that are part of that, and then kind of how the government has kind of responded. It really is this kind of, I'll say singularity, but it is this kind of very reductive, kind of limited vision of what a human being can be. Because I just think about this. Like, porn is okay because corporations can make money on it. But prostitution is not, because nobody's making money on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, those are the individual fucking slats. It's fucking amazing. So these little squares would have been like little connectors, huh?
I'm not sure.
Maybe patches?
Oh, yeah. Because you can see, like, there's a square that's right in the middle of a board.
Yeah.
That board probably had a big knot right there.
Oh, yeah.
That would have leaked the cement through. So, yeah, those are probably little metal patches for knots and imperfections in the wood.
God, it just blows me away.
Yeah.
Good morning.
But I don't know. That entire line of thought is not something that, like, I'd even fully agree with, but it's kind of like the only thing that I really see about it.
What do you mean, like the diversification? The diversification,
yeah, like in like a long-term strategy for humanity's survival. Like, I don't see us becoming like a Star Trek type civilization. You know, I think that it would make more sense to have a bunch of, like, very localized, very, very different groups of folks.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I always think of, like, I just had the word in my head, redundancies.
Yeah.
Right. Like if our power grid, let's say, was using all the available types of power generation, nuclear, water, air, blah, 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 solar, oil, if we were using all of it, I mean, there's such a part of me that wants to fucking go across this, but...
Yeah, same.
Yeah. It'd be a little bit difficult to get Barney across. He's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not completely...
Nah, that's not going to work out for getting Barney across.
Yeah, no. We've tried things like that, and he does okay, not great.
Yeah.
I do want to... There's, like, also a part of me that wants to actually get into the channel, but... Whatever.
Yeah.
I think we've gone...
Yeah, now we're at the Rose Bowl.
Is this really the Rose Bowl?
It says the Rose Bowl right there.
Wow.
Aquatic Center.
Yeah, let's go back. There's still plenty of road to hit over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like, if we had almost, I'd just say, like, complete redundancy, meaning every type of community, every type of human being, every type of, then it's almost like you can see, and, like you say, for humanity's survival, maybe one of those pods becomes the one that can, sally forth into the future. But otherwise, it's like, it's, what have we got? Another maybe 400 or 500 years of humans on this planet, if that.
Yeah. I think that problem would have to, the idea that, like, humans will go extinct in 400 years or something like that, has more to do with, like, the monocultured version of it.
Yes, for sure.
You know, like, I don't think that we'll go extinct as a species, but I do 100% believe that, like, the sort of global mass culture that we're living in right now is withering away. It's not going to be able to sustain itself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just listening to Cornell West and Slavoj Zizek.
Yeah.
They were on the basically Michael Brooks is Dead, but they were on his channel, kind of like a little bit paying homage to him. And they're talking about, like, how, you know, neoliberalism and neo-fascism are kind of two sides of the same kind of destructive, you know, homogenizing efforts of the culture that are going to, you know, that they didn't see any hope in either of those kind of, and again, like, how grassroots are they? How it is a fact that both capitalism, corporate culture, and the elites play the neoliberal and the neo-fascist kind of organ to whip us into these two different camps, you know. And ultimately, it's that you know, it's the one hand puppet that is in red and the other hand puppet's in blue, you know. Oh
man, I just had an idea for a puppet where, like, a marionette. I just made a marionette this last week, but
nice.
A marionette where I'm operating the marionette with one hand, and then that hand is tied to my other hand that I'm operating the. I think that would just be a funny,
I also
like, zoom back moment.
Yeah, I also think if you put that on stage, then you could also have, like, ropes from your body going up to the top of the stage. You know,
yeah,
and if you had them on, like, weighted pulleys, it'd look like they were pulling your arms up when you went.
Just puppets all the way up.
Oh yeah.
Zizek appeared to be in my dream last night.
What?
Yeah, he showed that. So in my dream, like, the situation that I was in just kept getting worse and worse, to the point where, like, things just got more and more chaotic. Like, the police started getting involved. I don't even remember all the specifics of stuff, but I remember, like, the police started getting involved with shit, and, like, we were, like, right on the verge of this, like, civil war kind of deal. And then all of a sudden, all of that stops, and Zizek shows up as, like, an admiral. He's dressed in like Navy clothes.
Wow!
With, like, a big sea captain's hat and everything. And then he explains to me this art piece that he was like, this is the best art piece in the world, and, like, gives this big speech about it. And the art piece was this boat that was like a deconstructed boat. I don't know. I wish I remembered more about his speech. I'd have a really good art piece to make.
That's still amazing. Yeah. Well, you know, you've been seeing what I've been doing on my Instagram. As soon as I wake up, I put it into my notes app, screenshot it, and throw it up on fucking Instagram.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I guess we could get into the channel if we wanted to.
We'd have to.
It's a super boring.
Go through some muck.
Yeah, it's a super boring channel too. So,
yeah.
But knowing it, this is the Arroyo Seco.
Yeah, this is the Arroyo Seco.
It is pretty Seco. It's not much going on here. Yeah, no, but you know, I think that these whatever, I'll just say, subconscious inspirations, you just build on it, right?
Yeah. Back to I guess part of the original point. One of the things that Mark Fisher talks about in Capitalist Realism, his book, is where is Barney?
Come on, bud. He'll show up.
There he is. Oh, Barney!
There he is.
But one of the things that Mark Fisher talks about is it's easier to imagine the end of the world than it is to imagine the end of capitalism.
Oh, you know what? I think, oh shit. I think Cornell West, or maybe Zizek quoted that. No, it's too delicate. I want to keep it, but I don't know if I'll be able to carry it back to the car.
Yeah.
Do they recycle?
I mean, what, nests?
Yeah, birds. Like, would another bird come and grab that and be like,
I mean,
oh, it's already mostly built.
He's not gonna like, just grab it and go. But they might rip some pieces off of it.
That's true.
I mean, the birds are basically recycling a bunch of the other elements that are in nature or in their environment when they're building nests.
Well, and to go back to the kind of the apocalypse fantasy, and I definitely relate this back to, I'll just say, Christianity. It's so built into white Christian culture that some end time event is going to happen, that it's like, us as kind of like whatever, caught in this matrix of consumption and kind of corporatism and elitism, we're the release from slavery is fucking an apocalypse, is the end of the world. You know? That's the way I see it, is like the only jubilee that the slaves get is when the whole fucking house lights on fire.
Yeah.
And it, and I think that becomes like, it's almost like they're dealing. Are we in somebody's backyard?
Just about.
Yeah. Oh, there he goes.
Just below it.
I could tell he was doing that anxious walking around like I need to poop real bad, Dad. Are you going to do it or what? Too many smells. But yeah, I think that's it's this weird double-edged sword where it keeps people in this kind of like fantasy of burning it all down, but also this kind of massive inhibition against kind of like burning down their own house or their own livelihood or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a nice trick the fucking Christians pulled on us by putting fucking up, the apocalypse in Revelations, It's a real...
I mean, you see echoes of that and a lot of different ideologies, not just in...
oh, sure. I just think because Christianity is so prevalent. Yeah, I think, apocalypse is a... Woo! There's actually that Morgan Freeman TV show, something, The Face of God or something like that. Literally one episode is apocalypse. And so he gets into the various apocalypse fantasies of all these. But, the good thing is he talks to the Buddhists and they're like, yeah, if there's an apocalypse, it's kind of the annihilation of the self. And he's like, oh, that's not so bad.
I mean, but there's also isn't there also a Buddhist apocalypse that like leads to the annihilation of the world?
Yeah, but this monk was saying on the way to that is, you lose. There's no self at that moment, so it does not matter. You don't have any vested interest in whether the world ends because you're already unified with the oneness of being.
I mean, I named my my old truck Kalki, the Destroyer of Ignorance.
Yes. So. Fuck yeah. Yeah. Ryan, my occult friend, suggested I look into Hecate, whatever the Greek goddess, for whatever ritual I'm going to pull, and I'm like, now I got to start thinking of those people again. Like, not that I'm a complete atheist. I love playing around with these modalities, but one of the reasons why I kind of went towards a little kind of like modified atheism because I was raised a crazy Christian, you know. And I had so many apocalypse fantasies, and it fed into my OCD and my, you know, and my drug addiction. I was just like, oh, if the world's gonna end, might as well get high. So I gotta find a good relationship with magical thinking. Wow. So is this like this
little cement structure right here?
Yeah.
I mean, they channelized the river.
Okay.
So that way they could do flood controls.
Okay.
So I'm sure that this is part of the old flood control system.
Yeah, it looks like a little dam.
So I imagine that this dam is put in so that way back behind the dam they could level out the ground more. So that way it slows down the flow of water.
Yeah, and then
because if it's too steep, then it all just comes down real fast. So at a lot of the canyons that are directly feeding into the Los Angeles River system up in the San Gabriel Mountains, you'll see these like waterfalls that they put in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's just so they change the slope of that canyon to slow down the water so it doesn't, you know, dump
just, you know, whatever
10 inches of rain that it gets in the mountains on a bad storm or whatever it is.
Well, and again, like, you know, LA is kind of built on the backbone of bad design around that, or at least our channel system. Yeah, it's like, so on Douglas Rushkoff's podcast this week, he was talking to this woman who went and studied all of these indigenous responses to different kinds of, oh man, I will send you the link to the book that she wrote, because I think you're probably familiar with a lot of these things. But basically these become like these closed systems that help floods, you know, stop fire, feed the people, you know, like they really become these kind of you know, whatever, self-contained, self-sustaining systems that you know, whatever, indigenous people are able. And I say that because I feel like, why haven't we figured out how to do that yet? It's scale, right?
It's partially scale. I'd say part of it for us living in Western North America at this time is we're not really culturally adapted to the environment that we live in, and we're not really culturally adapted to like the changes that are happening, and like
no, it's interesting you say that, because I feel like there are so many, if we were to even just have just regular, I'll just say harvest festivals, but festivals that were aligned with the changing of the seasons.
So I want to point this out real fast. This is a native California grape, and it's grown all along the creek here. That, you know, it's taken over trees and stuff over there. When the Spanish first arrived in the LA basin on the Portola expedition, they considered that they saw the grapes, and they considered this land extremely well watered, and they like grew. The first industry in Southern California was vineyards. You know.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
The Spanish were coming here pretty much from Spain, and they had spent a little bit of time in Mexico before they got up here. They came with a different cultural expectation than when, you know,
the
European settlers came over from the East Coast that wanted fucking lawns.
Yeah.
You know? They came with a different set of cultural expectations about what the land is and what it can be. So you get other people that show up here, they're like, it's a desert. They're like, actually, that's not fucking true. There's a lot of water here.
Well, it's chaparral.
It's chaparral. It's just a different way of dealing with water.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. Settle down, buddy.
So
settle down, bud.
That's kind of what I mean about like what we're like culturally adapted to.
Well, you know, it's like you know, my favorite book about water, Dune. You know,
and I don't think that we have any incentive to change that. At least, like, not under capitalism. Most fucking people,
It's true.
their biggest aspiration is to live in one of these fancy houses in Pasadena and have a fucking $3,000 bike or what have you. It's not about doing habitat restoration or something like that.
No, because it's weird. It requires the kind of work that, and I'll just say elites or whatever, either the brainy nerds or the bullies or the fucking shysters, come back to that quote about fucking Trump. He's never changed a diaper. He's never changed a flat tire. He's a kind of effete elite, generationally. His family's just owned land that does not know how to practically be in the world. He can only be, there's so many creatures, humans, or they're wearing human skins, that are incapable of doing anything. There's actually, Cory Doctorow has a great short story about, it's an apocalypse event, and this rich guy is fucking set up these 100 other rich people for them to come and fucking live in his bomb shelter. And it's a kind of a punchy story, and the end of it is a woman knocking on the bomb shelter, and she looks at him and she's like, "Oh, I'm not going in there. They got Chagas syndrome or some shit like that, some crazy fucking disease that he was unaware of that he would get from living in proximity with his own feces or whatever."
Yeah.
So, there's a nice little punchy way of being yeah, these motherfuckers don't know how to do shit. And, Rushkoff keeps on coming back to the idea, this is fucking awesome. I didn't even know that we could get up to this road.
Yeah, this is cool.
That he gets consulted by billionaires all the time, saying well, once it all collapses, how do we keep paying our security forces? How do we motivate them to protect us against the hungry hordes? And his suggestion, which I think is amazing, he's yeah, pay for their bat mitzvahs of their daughters. Fucking be involved in their lives.
Yeah.
Give a shit about these people. And they may fucking give a shit about you when it's all coming down. He also tells them, just give away all your money. But they don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah.
If you think of I'll just go with the top 100. The top 100 richest ticks that are sucking the fucking life force out of our Mother Earth. If we could just pluck those ticks and fucking dip them in fucking, what are you supposed to drop them in? Lime?
Yeah.
Yeah. We could just pluck them and fucking and kill them. Then another 100 will pop up. But then at least we know we have a system for fucking getting rid of these ticks, whatever that is. And then maybe, ticks stop evolving, or humans stop evolving into ticks. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I know it's we are, I see it as what I just call also a spiritual crisis, because the market has no soul, or the soul of it is such a selfish, voracious, it doesn't, there's no feedback from it. It's just, it will consume itself eventually. That, if there were messages of compassion, grace, humanity, community, but there's not.
Yeah.
There's none of that. No, it's, how are we going to make a movie about fucking, I don't know, people being nice to each other? Yeah. I mean, that is really, to me, the toughest part about being an artist lately, you know, is how to tell a compelling story that doesn't perpetuate the, I'll just say, nihilism of the times.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, I came up with just like a point in a story the other day, but I do feel that it perpetuates the nihilism of the times. I've been playing around with this like post-apocalyptic puppet short series or whatever. One of the things that I wanted to incorporate was in the afterlife is known as like going to the store. Yeah, that's the better place. So like something like traumatic happens, like a character gets like eviscerated, their guts are splattered all over the other characters, and one of the characters turns to the survivor that's clearly in shock over this. It's like, don't worry, he went to the store.
I like it. To me, it works. On like 3 levels, right? The first level is like Dad just went to the store to get cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, it's like, yeah, he may be back. The other level I like about it is, like, I think, you know, linguistically, store is related to like storage, like being, you know, the city's stores, you know, so it's like they're being put on pause or being put up on the shelf, you know. The third level is that the possible heaven/hellish afterlife is fucking capitalism.
Yeah.
You go to this fucking capitalist dystopia when you die.
I mean, that I was kind of getting the idea off of the Jeremy Fisher, Mark Fisher.
Oh yeah.
The capitalist realism, that it's easier. And you know, if you're doing like a post-apocalyptic thing, like a post-apocalyptic story, like to take that into account, like, you know, maybe they have some other system and like there's like remnants of capitalism still around, like floating through the environment, but they're like just in the background.
Or like, I also love the idea sometimes for me thinking about these post-apocalyptic, I guess like fucking the Mad Max series is kind of like the cargo cultification of the last remnants of capitalism. You know, we don't know what the symbol means, but we know it had power in a previous life.
Yeah.
You know. And those planes drop fucking food. Come on, we should fucking worship them.
Food and porn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I think it's like, so I had a conversation with another friend of mine, and she's in a deeply, deeply spiritual space. And good morning.
Hey.
And so I was talking to her personally. My personal take is I don't want to be in the prophecy business anymore. And what I mean by that is I don't want to write sci-fi that then some fucking you know, Rand Corporation or fucking whoever will read it and go like, oh, that looks like a good idea. We should take that on.
We should try that. Yeah.
Like fucking 1984 and Brave New World. Those are the 2 big ones. But I would even look at William Gibson's newest work. It's called The Peripheral. It's like a trilogy of books. But at the heart of it is this event called the jackpot. I'll get back to that in a second. But the story he's telling is these future elites that are like using portals to go back in time when there were resources, and they're basically stealing the resources from these previous times. The jackpot is some event that happened that annihilated their dimension. Like, and now that I look at it, it's like, oh, could it be the election of a fucking shitty ass president combined with a fucking global pandemic and a fucking, the biggest transfer of wealth in human history? Could that have been the jackpot? That sounds like a jackpot situation to me.
Yeah.
You know, so he writes, hey, no. You don't do it. No. Go. He's like, there's dogs. Yeah, I know. They don't want your shit, Barney. Yeah, but like, again, like, I think he was writing it, you know, because he's a sci-fi writer, and he can read the tea leaves of our times and project forward and then do his own little metaphysical fucking take on whatever it is. But I always worry. Fucking Jules Verne writes about submarines. Now we got fucking submarines in the Civil War. That was one of the deciding factors. Thankfully, that the anti-slavers used.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I'm trying to personally resist. Like, I only want to do, I'll just say sci-fi comedies.
Yeah.
You know, because then you get to satirize things and you can have a ridiculous take on them rather than being like, oh, we're going to develop newspeak. Hey, come here, bud.
I'm in the same boat on just trying to do comedies.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely have you were in a previous era, you would have been a walking prophet. Come into town.
I just don't want to preach, man. That's what it comes down to.
Again, but honestly, I mean, there's a part of me that does want to preach, but my preaching is on some level going to be about, like, you know, satire and fucking, you know, kind of playing with these ideas, but as a, like, you know, my comic persona is this fucking manic crazy guy. Why don't we call fucking goat milk gilk, guys? You know, just say stupid things like a person that's very serious about what they're saying. You know. Oh, I see. That's what these are. These little things that I thought were like primitive crosses are probably target holding.
It'd be terrible for target holding stands. You'd just be shooting people.
Well, it is a roving archery club.
Yeah, but like you want to make sure you know what's behind your target. That's why
true.
they shoot just into the hillside. Otherwise, you know, we'd be dodging arrows left and right coming down. Through,
or I don't know. Then what do you think they're for then?
I don't know.
Because it feels. I mean, obviously, I was like, oh, could it be a laundry line? But no.
Yeah, that was my first thought, was laundry line. But it's definitely what it looks like.
The ancient Pasadenans would come down and fucking
wash their clothes in the river.
Wash their clothes and hang their petticoats upon the wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I think comedy gets at the present moment the most of any kind of art form. That's also why fucking comedy goes stale. That's why if you look at something from, like, I don't know, the 90s and go like, why are they making such a big deal about whether fucking Ross is gay or not? Yeah. You know, like, you know, it just goes bad very fast, which is a good thing and a bad thing about comedy. I was also just thinking about this. How crazy is it that in vaudeville, you would just develop an hour or whatever. You would just develop your act, and that would be the only thing you did your whole fucking career. And now it's almost like people have to fucking... I don't want to tell the same jokes twice. I see people on these mics that are just fucking working the same 5 minutes, and I'm just like, ugh. I don't want to fucking hear about this girl's fucking great-grandfather that was an NFL player that was, I like hitting people. You know, okay, great. You know, fuck. It's a funny joke, but...
Counterback, we know!
Yeah. And again, but it's again like, these, you know, I'm sure they're fucking used to me being just like, this crazy guy picking up weird things. This is a brain. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm a prop comic.
As a prop maker, I'm glad you exist.
Yeah, right, yes! Yeah, okay, good. This is a key and lock situation. Do you know Shasha Higbee?
I don't know. Doesn't ring a bell off the top of my head.
They, he, she, I think it's a she, you don't really get to see them, this is an elaborate costume maker that basically they just you move your arms in a certain way and it all kind of flutters and reacts and all that. And that's all they do. I don't know how they fucking get their money to do that, because it always blows me away. But I'm always interested in a fucking, whatever, a costume that's got some comedy to it, that if I go up on stage, I can, interact with the costume, but interact with the audience. And there it is. There's the act.
Yeah.
I was playing around with a water suit idea, but it had to be an outdoor thing where I could just like hit things and water would shoot out. I don't know.
I like the idea that like you'd press down on one part of your body and another part would get larger.
Yes.
Or
That's
like
fucking
that.
amazing. Yes.
But the mechanics on that are actually kind of hard to do.
It's like almost like a faulty still suit.
Yeah. Fucked up.
Well, my still suit is broken. It's filling up with fucking shit, bro. I don't know.
I got a colostomy bag for a still suit.
Yeah, do I fucking take this to the... I don't know any fucking Fremen tailors. Oh, man, does your still suit like kind of taste like fucking a little pukey? Mine does. Tastes a little like backwash.
Oh, Old Spice.
Yeah, it's like, oh, can you just fucking hang your still suit outside? Yeah, that's the way you play with physics with your phone projects is fucking amazing. It's so fun.
Thank you. At this point, I'm just like trying to outdo myself into weird other ways. Like, what's the next like technically challenging thing that I could think of?
Yeah. Well, if you ever need a fucking model, you ever need somebody to fucking wear your shit and go out in public and do it?
Oh, actually, I might. I have a funny one.
Oh, good.
That I want to do. I just started making an oversized payphone that I think would be like a realistic one.
Okay.
That would be great as a costume.
Yeah.
And then a hand reaches in, the person wearing the costume, a hand reaches in and grabs the receiver, which the hand is like, now all of a sudden it's too small. It's out of scale with everything else. And then pulls the receiver away. And then that's where your face is.
Yes.
And then you just start screaming.
Okay.
And maybe like spitting blood out or something. I don't know.
Seriously, I love that shit. I mean, I also, just so you know, I have literally no problem. I did a mushroom journey at Dodger Stadium and it broke me of this. I can do anything in public. I have no filter for that anymore. I used to be super shy and reserved. You want to go say hi, bud? Oh. It's all right, buddy. Okay, let's go, bud. Come on, let's go. Barney. Good boy. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'll do it. I'm in.
Nice.
Yeah, I have no filter for that. What else was I going to say? Like, and also, I mean, obviously, kind of pranking, kind of being out in public. We get 2 or 3 camera people and get fucking people's reaction. Whatever.
Oh man, I just shot a video with Ormash.
Oh yeah.
About a week or so ago. I think it should be coming out pretty soon, but
nice.
I loaded up my fire extinguisher with fake poo, and then attached it to a phone, and then like sprayed her with a bunch of fake poo out of the phone.
Fuck yeah.
For one of her wake up videos. And then as she was like running away from the whole situation, she like ran into some guy that was like walking out of a weed shop and like thought that she had been like stabbed to death.
Oh yeah, he wasn't in on it?
Yeah, he wasn't in on it.
Fuck yeah.
Pretty good reaction. He laughed about it when he realized that it was like either shit or chocolate. So.
Are you okay? You're hot. I want to save you. Yeah, I think it's weird. I mean, I think we knew this of each other, but I feel like I didn't kind of put it together fully. That, because basically it's like a salesman's case. It's like an old Samsonite that's been modified to be a kind of a display.
Nice.
I bought it some fucking crazy guy in Boyle Heights. It was like, I don't want to say like $150, something. It was very expensive, but I was on a fucking a Hinge date, and she's like, "You should buy it." And I was like, "I'm so glad I did."
Yeah.
I was not into her, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, it's full of like luchador masks and tiny hands, and I've got a fucking rubber brain in there, fucking tentacles, just all kinds of weird little things. And, you know, I pulled it out on my birthday, and I was just going through this shit and just fucking talking and fucking making, oh, there's a bunch of fucking rubber fish in there.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like, I know I can just like improvise and tell stories and make shit up in the moment with whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I also don't understand when I look at like modern comedy why people are so just stuck on the idea that it's just them standing on stage telling jokes. I mean, you know, act outs are just like the minimal work that people are doing. But you're a goddamn entertainer. Get up there and fucking entertain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I was
wanna
talking to damn, I forget her name. I forget her last name. First name was Christina, though.
Christina something Martinez.
Possibly.
Yeah, kind of. She got a little bob, cute, funny, arty girl.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I know her.
I was talking to her, and she was telling me about a comedian she saw at Lyric Hyperion, where they just wash their hands on stage for 10 minutes.
Okay.
And like, you know, you could do something like that actually does become funny.
Sure.
Like,
I don't mind the doing the bit painfully long. I think there is definitely something to that.
I mean, I once watched someone dressed up as like a hobo clown just slap their belly for 10 minutes while they cried, which I thought was fucking hilarious.
Well, and again, if you do it, if you're in the moment, if you're willing to just keep pushing.
I think they got married to a melon at the end of it too. It's like kind of a perfect hobo clown act.
But that's where I want to create from, is this absurd, and I mean, you know, I don't mind writing. I don't mind trying to either put words or to have kind of defined bits in there. But really it's about playing, I'll just say playing with toys, you know, playing with junk on stage, putting on costumes. And then whatever is born of that moment when it happens, you know, because you know, I've got the soul of an improviser, but fucking, you know, improv is bleh.
Yeah,
It's the worst.
I mean, there's a reason why we went to war against ISIS.
Yeah.
Give me a situation. I just imagine like the ISIS field commander says.
Yes.
Well, he's like, no, these are improvised munitions. I'm like, oh.
Oh man, but yeah, I think it's almost like one of the best sets I've ever had. I was doing a storytelling show, and I was in the throes of taking a bunch of clown classes, and you know, I did tell a story about doing mushrooms on Mount Shasta, but a pallet was the stage, right? It was a little bit raised, and then there was a balloon tied to the pallet. And it kept on kind of like drifting towards me, and I would just start punctuating my story by hitting the balloon. And, you know, it was fucking killing. And so eventually, by the end of the fucking story, as I'm talking about, like, you know, the peak of my trip, I was like, and I touched the hand of God, and I ripped the fucking balloon up, and I just held my finger up as if I was touching, and it fucking, everybody lost their shit. And I was like, oh, it's just that easy? Just fucking play with a goddamn balloon? I mean, you know, I think it helps to have the kind of the focusing material of either a joke or a story, but then have all of the other madness going along.
Yeah.
I forget what comedian I saw. And I think that they're somewhat conscious of this, but they were doing this kind of like just this weird hand movement as they were telling their joke. And without that hand movement, I don't think that their shit would have been funny. This little funny thing they were doing like this. And I was just like, oh, it's kind of like this unconscious movement that you don't understand what it means is kind of like a harmony behind these words that they're saying. And I think that there's something to be said about that. But like let's say the telephone bit, you know, I could just be repeating like a phrase like, I'm sorry, we can't connect your call, or whatever it is, just say it over and over again. And then it's just like, yeah, see, it gains some kind of like way to, you know, like whatever the phrase is. And you just kind of say it over and over and you kind of keep getting back. I mean, that's what fucking Eric Andre does, right?
Yeah.
You've been fart pranked or whatever, you know. Just say the same thing. Or, you know, in variations of it. Or you could go away from it and then come back to it. But, the heart of the bit is whatever. I also love, doing Bible quotes. And in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was formless and empty, guys.
Got a
Good morning.
somewhat unrelated story. I was did a bunch of acid the other day.
Fuck yeah.
And was telling this story about like I had like a bit where I was talking about like the funniest joke in the world, and I just kept coming back to it, and like it stopped being funny, and then it started being funny again, and all this. But it's that's not the point of the story. I was hanging out with some other friend, and we were talking about some other shit entirely. We were talking about like Reagan, and he was like, "Oh, you know, say what you will about Reagan, but he ended the Cold War." I'm like, "Yeah, I think that there were structural problems with the Soviet Union before any of that." And he's like, "No, you don't understand. I was working on set, and I met this sound guy that he was one of the top fighter pilots in the Navy, but then he couldn't see so good, so they put him in charge of a Navy submarine." Which I fucking love that part.
Wow.
Like that, he didn't immediately like stop believing this guy. And he's like, "Oh yeah, he was in charge of this Navy submarine that went into the Bay of St. Petersburg and dropped off some frogmen, and they tapped, you know, Gorbachev's line, and fucking that's how Reagan knew everything about." It was like, wait. He had bad eyesight, so they put him in charge of a submarine, huh?
Yeah.
Those two
It layers upon layers of fucking, like, I heard from a guy.
Yeah. And then he became a sound guy, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I guess he was really good at fucking sound tapping technology.
Oh, yeah, because his eyesight wasn't so good, but he could hear really great.
I also just love the idea that a fucking boom operator has an origin story. I just think that's such a hilarious thing. Yeah, well, you know, Hollywood's a lot easier than fucking being a surveillance frogman. That's hilarious. No, it was goddamn Chernobyl that fucking stopped the Cold War. God damn, they fucking literally imploded.
Yeah.
Literally. The Soviet Union literally imploded. Anyway, I like this hike. It's a little boring, but it's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know. I was hoping there'd be another bridge.
Yeah, I think we just passed what that other bridge was. That the guy back there.
Let's see. I feel like we got a good chunk here. We should turn around.
Back. I gotta clean the studio a little bit. I am sculpting this realistic octopus.
Oh yes.
That
looks amazing.
I'm pretty stoked on it.
Yeah.
It's my first real creature sculpt, and it's coming out. I can't wait to actually cast it though. I found out about this material called silicone foam. That's apparently like a floppy, like a lightweight floppy thing. That I imagine it's going to be like what an octopus would be like.
Sure,
so I want to fuck around with that.
It's basically like it's aerated silicone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wanted to do it in silicone, but silicone itself is just so heavy.
Yeah.
But I wanted that like flop.
Yeah. That kind of like the jelliness.
Yeah. It's going to be a hat for some band.
Nice.
Working on that, and then I did some like 60s looking space helmet thing for some like lesbian singer.
Fuck yeah.
The other day, I just turned that in yesterday. And then she was described to me as like lesbian Alanis Morissette or something, but I have no idea who these people are.
Well, no, they know, but they describe the thing that they want, and you fucking make it.
Yeah. And then I'm making a fursuit for someone that I don't think is a furry. So I don't think so anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's so funny. Always the problems I have with like I'm not too uptight about discomfort, but I look at those people that fucking live in that shit, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Oh, oh, no worries. It's pretty funny. Trying to give me warning, and I still got scared.
But so furries.
Yeah, I just will never get it.
I mean, I'm not gonna try to live in it. I think I get it.
Meaning like being able to hide your self inside of another.
And like being into like cartoons or something. I can understand like where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna kink shame on someone like that.
No. It's more like I couldn't handle that level of discomfort. But also the other thing that you made me realize is it's still got to be me. Like I want my essence to come through on some level. Which
a cartoon. Yeah, how come there's no like Fred Flintstone furries?
Right?
Like they just do like the animal cartoon characters. Like, couldn't they do some other, or like ones that are even like more explicitly like a Huckleberry Hound or just any of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons?
I mean, I think part of that has to do with none of those are fucking cool. Or
maybe we could sell it to boomer furries.
Yeah.
They're just like, I just get off on Huckleberry Hound.
But it's interesting. I wonder how far that culture does go back, right? Because thinking about like kind of like, I mean, I feel like I only became aware of furries, let's say, in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And maybe as a person that's kind of aware of these kinds of things, maybe I was early on aware of it, being kink adjacent and all that.
Some of the first cave paintings are people dressed up as animals.
As animals, yeah. And so but also if you look at like a lot of the, I'll just say, harvest rituals around the world, is people, fucking Native Americans just putting on a fucking elk head, or whatever. I wonder if there is a relationship, like literally between the ritual wearing of animal costumes and the furry convention wearing. I wonder if there's like a literal like thread of like maybe there was some kind of like, I'm just gonna say this, like,
animal sex magic.
Yeah, no, but I'd say I was going to say like a gay Native American guy who was kind of into fucking anime or something like that. And he was just like, my culture, we do wear these furs. Maybe I could, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think that's where it comes from.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I wonder if, is there a patient zero for this movement?
Patient zero for furry.
Or is it like you're saying, is like, it's just this kind of like reiteration of this animal sex magic thing that has been part of the human, part of the margins of human expression for, I don't know, since the beginning. Like you're saying, cave paintings, fucking, I can think of almost every culture has some kind of wearing of animal skins ritual or masks of the
or like a wild man.
Yeah, the wild man
that lives out in the forest.
Yeah.
I mean, just talking about this with a friend. One of the first like recorded curses is by Enkidu. He was the Babylonian wild man.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget if like he had been turned down by a prostitute. Or there was like something where like he's like cursing at this prostitute near a water hole, I believe. And he yells at her something along the lines of, "May drunkards forever vomit on your party dress," which I think is pretty great.
That is pretty good.
Pretty great curse.
I also think, though, now that you've said that, it's like, find an actress to be the lady wearing the puke, the puke. I don't even. I mean, it's like almost like, but again, like it's almost like the puke needs to kind of just keep on coming out of it somehow.
Yeah.
And then she's just like, I fucking turned this guy down for sex. I don't know why. I'm just like, I don't know why he put this curse on me. I just didn't want him. He's disgusting. He's all fucking covered in dirt. His still suit was so dirty. And now I got to deal with this. That's a good curse. I also love curses that are a little bit nonsensical. Even thinner. You know, the fucking Stephen King is a ridiculous fucking curse. What were you?
I was just going to say, I think that "made drunkards forever vomit on your party dress" is kind of I could see that making sense as a curse.
Oh, yeah.
Just definitely like, that's all that you're going to attract in life.
Yep. But I guess also what I'm saying is it feels a little Baroque.
Yeah.
It feels like, it's imaginative. It's creative. Yeah. And then, during the scene, you fucking have just fucking drunks just come out and just puke on her dress. It's like, but what did I do? I told them no. Guys have such fragile egos. Oh, good old Babylon. God, has there been ever a good... is there any good depictions of ancient Babylon? Either in novels or graphic novels or movies?
The only one that I could really think of is Intolerance.
Oh, yeah.
But
that was... It felt, though, like it was just like a pastiche of, like...
Yeah. But that's like the only real, like, thing that I can think of that takes place in Babylon.
Yeah. Who are the enemies in 300?
Those are the... not the Persians, but...
not the Syrians.
The Assyrians?
Assyrians, yes.
Yeah.
Because to me, like, Babylon is one of the most interesting fucking... just whatever they were doing. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, man, they definitely had some shit going on. And they were fucking probably a very magical culture. Horse poop.
Yep.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I like ancient Persia a lot. The Zoroastrians. They got some fucking bomb-ass art. I feel like the Egyptians get overplayed.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think that they get both underplayed and overplayed, or overplayed and underplayed, though. Okay. Because, like, when you got into some of the nitty-gritty stuff with Egyptian religion, it's maybe a little bit more interesting. Mm-hmm. Like the local crippled sex dwarf gods and stuff like that. Like, just really weird shit that could happen.
Yeah.
When everyone just wants to look at, like, the pharaohs and the Osirises and all this. Mm-hmm. The, like, top tier folks, which aren't that interesting, but, like, some of the other stuff is.
Well, and I think it's like, when talk about branding, the fucking, the pharaohs and the Osirises and, the kind of the top tier gods, they fucking made sure we would not forget them.
Yeah.
They were like, I'm going to put all my guts in jars, and then fucking, in a couple thousand years, this motherfucker's going to find my shit. So I think it becomes like this, self-fulfilling prophecy.
Selection bias.
Yeah. And so,
survivorship bias.
And And the fucking British loved fucking robbing fucking Egyptian artifacts. And I think it was right kind of at the advent of the 20th century. So, you know, we do have a little bit of a recency bias too. Because I feel like wasn't the Renaissance was fucking fascinated with ancient Greece.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But I think it was Napoleon that started bringing back the Egyptian artifacts first.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
And they had been using ground up mummies for a long time.
Yeah, just fucking snort for fucking health purposes.
And
It's gonna make my boner hard.
additives for paint.
Oh yeah, that's
as
right.
well. All kinds of shit.
We're gonna run out of mummies at some point. That's like peak mummy. Well, yeah, but it's interesting though. If you think about it, like King Tut was probably peak mummy, right? So instead of grinding up his mummy and turning it into whatever drugs or fucking paint, we fucking toured his fucking body all over the world, and it was almost like this, almost like cow worship. You know, like this mummy has provided us with so many resources, and now that we're out of it, we're going to worship it. I love this idea.
I mean, at one point, I think Burroughs talks about, I remember there being a scene in one of his books where there's a mummy, but he's like a lesser mummy, and he's like living at like a shitty hotel on the edge of like the Egyptian paradise afterlife. And like
That sounds very Burroughsian.
his body's like doesn't have all the same preservation techniques, so he's kind of like,
Oh, that's hilarious.
he's kind of like a shitty drug addict, like because he wasn't well taken care of, and his body was not taken care of.
Is that in Cities of the Red?
It's either in Cities of the Red Knight or Western Lands.
Yeah, well, they're all kind of they're both
Or Redlands or whatever.
yeah, they're both playing off of each other.
It was a trilogy.
Yeah.
I only read the first one though.
Well, Burroughs is a tough read.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I'm going to start fucking... I wish there were versions of his books that he read on Libby. Because I just love his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a shit ton of his recordings. There's also, I don't know if Bill Laswell of Material. He's a kind of a jazz fusion, kind of the inventor of fucking new age yoga music. Had a period where he was just making a bunch of like Burroughs songs.
Nice.
And he's got an album. It's got like 7 Souls, which is just basically Burroughs talking about these 7 souls, the 7 Egyptian souls. What else? The Road to the Western Land. But it's just like little snippets, little bits of his readings that he re-recorded, and then there's music put behind it. That's one of my favorite works, out there. Yeah, what are these? I think I know exactly what they are.
What are they?
It's where you hang your fucking bow while between your shooting.
But why are there so many of them? Not all of them are...
Because here's the target right here, right? So
okay.
You put your bow while you're waiting.
Oh, okay,
you shoot
okay.
there. So yeah, these are the markers.
Got it.
Okay.
It's like
Solve that
putting a
mystery.
sock on the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hey.
Keep moving. Good boy. Good Barney. Yeah, don't come in here. We got some fucking arrows flying off. Wink, wink.
Just doing some archery practice.
Yeah, you want to come in here and string my bow? You can string my bow. String my bow, my bow.
The tension is killing me.
Oh man, that's okay. Here's the thing: you just gotta fucking smooth the shaft out a little bit. I don't know if people smooth the shafts in archery.
Not anymore. That used to be a thing when you had to make your own arrows, but you can just get them from the factory, already pre-made.
Well, it's okay. I'll still put a feather in your cap. Wink. That's not an archery term. It's just feathers. I'm listening to a book called The Pun Also Rises, and it's about basically kind of like puns. And literally the whole, like when you go to a pun off, it's literally just that. You're just two people going back and forth doing some kind of pun.
Oh, yeah.
And while I'm interested in the mechanics, let's say, just fucking listening to this guy tell these stories, it's just like, ugh. I mean, I like puns, but then on a certain level, it's like, I don't really need to look that closely at them.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't need a book of puns, but
Yeah,
it's fun to like do.
Yeah, to play.
Just punning back and forth on a specific topic, let's say.
Yeah, like
we're just gonna do tree puns.
like volleying arrows back and forth.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yay. Yeah, no, I took an archery class in college. It was delightful. I was pretty good at it, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, even with their crappy, in-house bows and arrows. But I was like, oh, this is going to fucking get my phys ed fucking credits.
Yeah.
Boom. Don't like any kind of competitive sports. Don't like fucking having to suit up for shit.
The time the archery class fought the fencing class, though, it was pretty...
Yeah. I mean, fencing is a little, so much more.
Yeah. Back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I'm surprised neither of us in that pun exchange brought up the quiver.
Oh, but I was just waiting for it. I was on pins and needles. No, that's not even an arrow pun. I mean, but you were pretty on point.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good to see that there's an archery culture here. I feel like also, as far as like, let's say, sports that require buying your own equipment, archery's got a pretty low entry point financially.
I mean, yeah, you can just reuse all your arrows.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, reuse all your, I mean, and again, like, you could get just a cheap bow. You don't have to buy a super expensive one.
people have been making their own bows for millennium.
I'm not going to do that, but still, yeah. Yeah, it's also good to know this is only a 15-minute drive away for me if I need to. And it looks like you don't even have to be part of the fucking club. You can just come out here with your fucking targets and shoot. And also, I think the casting club has to do something to do with that fucking...
Yeah, that pond.
That pond.
I was looking at that pond. I'm like, there's nothing living in here.
No.
And then I realized, oh wait, that's the point, that they could just like try to see how far they could cast their fishing line.
Oh, I get it. And they have it near the river because at some point probably people were fishing in the river, but then all that dried up. And also now I know I can park down here.
Did you park down here? I ended up...
I parked behind you, or in front of you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you could park down here either.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I do like this park because the fact that it's like sunken is, like you're not having to overlook these fancy houses.
Yeah.
I'm driving out though. I'm gonna have so many pangs of like, why wasn't I born rich? Why have I been punished with poverty by being born to the wrong people?
God. I'm glad I wasn't.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Because I know I'd be a total douche if I was. I know it. I mean, I was on my way to being a total douche just from my regular old lower middle class white privilege, you know. And if we didn't get kicked in the fucking nuts financially a few times, I would definitely have some kind of shitty fucking climber kind of job.
Yeah.
Like a dentist or some shit. But you know, divorce and disease and drug addiction, the big 3 Ds. God fucking hammered us, kneecapped us on our way up. I'll say this though, I mean, maybe I'll have some money in my future, but neither the Humphreys nor the Burkes, neither of those clans were ever built for fucking success. You got fucking poor people all the way down. I don't know how we keep it up. I mean, at this point, neither my brother or I have kids, so maybe the line ends. Well, no, I have a cousin, and she's got kids. But
yeah, I think like 2 of my siblings will continue that ladder climb.
oh, good. Good boy. Good boy.
And their kids will as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just trying to go out and have fun.
Yeah, well, and I feel like it's interesting because I look at, like, I would not have a tenth of the creative life that I have if I had to. Like, I feel like now that I've had, 9 months of disability, I've finally shaken off the anxiety and fear, the disease of capitalism, and all I want to do is put myself in as creative of a space as possible for the rest of my life, and try to not have to figure out a way, if I'm going to interface with corporate culture, that I'm getting my voice heard.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day.
Christina Catherine Martinez, that's her name.
That's the right one.
Yep.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day that said something along the lines of, like, art pieces that you put out in the world and then just, like, kind of abandon end up being sorts of like a weird spell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
And it could be something that will influence someone's life in some way that you'll never be aware of.
Yeah.
You're just, like, dropping out these little decoys for other people to find. That's why I don't want to associate my name with a lot of my work.
Sure, fair enough.
Because it's not for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, but part of it for me is, like, it is for me, but also I think that, like, for me, personality is an aspect of what I'm trying to do,
Yeah. All
or
right.
persona, even better.
What is this fucking house?
It's kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, that was fucking awesome. It always is.
There you are.
Yep.
And
just let me turn this off real quick. There you go.
pull this up. Probably more robust than pulling the...
Going for a walk, and we're gonna talk. Oh